Christy and Alonso, you asked for an X review. We got you an X review.
Yeah, you guys were so great to ask us to review X. X came out a few weeks back at a crazy time in our lives when we were getting ready for the Oscars and my husband was getting ready to run a marathon and we had family coming and we were getting ready to go out of town for spring break. So I'm happy that we're getting a chance to take a moment to go see X now. And it's a blast. And so I was really glad to be able to check it out.
Farmer's daughter, take one. I need to be famous, Wayne. All the best people are.
There ain't nobody else out there like you.
You know why?
Why?
Because you got that X Factor.
This is from writer-director Ty West, and it's very much a love letter to like 70s grindhouse movies and also 70s porn. And just I saw someone describe it as Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
And that feels like a good
that reads,
intersection of stuff.
Sure.
You've got a small film crew going to this place they've rented in middle of nowhere, Texas, on a farm. They're going to shoot a porno film. The year is 1979. It's outside of Houston. It's lots of tube tops and smoking and yacht rock on the radio. And when they go out there, there's an elderly couple who lives there. And they are warned at the outset, do not disturb my wife. She's easily agitated, especially at night. And, they've got this evangelist preaching on the television at all times. And also like in the convenience store they stop at on the way out of town, like it's a prevalence of this kind of puritanical, judgy, like fire and brimstone religion throughout the film. And so they make this movie, and eventually things go wrong. And it's Jenna Ortega and Brittany Snow and a fantastic Mia Goth. Oh my gosh, she's so good. I feel like it's trying to, in some ways, like right the wrongs of the ways that women have been portrayed in both porn and 70s horror, because it's steeped in the aesthetics of those kinds of films. And it's definitely a love letter to like independent filmmaking and like the scrappiness of just jumping in and making it work against all odds with no budget. But I feel like the women in here have more brains and more agency than you often see in films of these genres.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more the 80s where that went south, because obviously, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of introduces the whole final girl trope, and Halloween, like not only Jamie Lee Curtis, but even, PJ Souls, the other female characters in that film are interesting and funny and have personalities. But then once you start getting into the Friday the 13th and afterwards, a lot of slashers feel like they are punishing women for having sexual agency, and that, because they have decided that they're going to have sex, they must be, stabbed or skewered or chainsawed or whatever the hell. And so, yeah, I do like the fact that this movie is very supportive of the women. And while the evangelist on TV thing, I feel like I've seen before. There was that movie with Alexandra Daddario and her, and the preacher is like Johnny Knoxville, and that's like a recurring element.
Oh, right.
But it does sort of play on this idea of, if these women are being attacked by, the killer, it's because the killer is sort of steeped in old school, like hypocritical morality, and they sort of represent, this is the end of the sexual revolution. It's 1979, so it's right before Reagan gets elected. It's right before, the New York Times starts reporting on the first AIDS cases, and it's this sort of last blush of, they talk about the dawn of home video. Like that's going to be, that's the reason this movie's getting made. And they want to get in on that Debbie Does Dallas action. I loved Brittany Snow in this. I love when an actress who you think, what you're going to get out of her, like completely leaves her comfort zone. She was hilarious. I wasn't crazy about Mia Goth, just because I feel like but it's more about the movie than her. I think the movie kind of presents her more as this idea of a character rather than really getting deep into who and what she's about. But she's a presence. She's got that thing that the camera likes watching, and so I mean, you believe her as somebody who believes in her own potential star power. The women making this movie are like, I'm going to be somebody. I'm going to get something out of this. I'm going to go to LA and have a pool.
Can we get into spoilers? Are you ready?
we could dance around. Yeah, sure. I mean, like stop listening if you don't want to hear this, because this movie, by the way, we'll just say now, launches on streaming this Thursday, April 14th. So
Right.
if you aren't able to see it in the theater, you can now watch it at home. But yeah, we're going to get into some spoilers now.
It's been out for several weeks now. So yeah, so
Yes.
we're going to spoil now. So the fact that Mia Goth is doing both of those performances, doing both Maxine and Pearl. First of
Yes.
all, I had no idea. I knew that Ty West announced at South by Southwest that there was a whole prequel to this with Pearl, but I don't think I
Right.
put two and two together that like Mia Goth is Pearl throughout this, because the makeup is so good. Only with that one match cut where she's on top of Scott Mescudi in the barn for the sex scene, and she whips her head around, and it's the old lady all of a sudden is astride him, like, oh, that's her. But let me ask you this: is there some sort of like time space thing where they actually are the same person, or is it just that she's playing both characters?
I think it's that she's playing both characters, and I did know that going in, but I was looking at that makeup, trying to find the Mia Goth in there, and it was very hard to do.
Yeah.
So kudos to that team. No, I don't think it's the same character. I think it's what we're going to learn about Pearl when this prequel comes out, is that she too wanted to dance, wanted to be on stage, wanted people to look at her. And she is, while we've seen that obviously that this is not the first homicides committed by the farm couple, these people in particular really trigger something in Pearl, and that they're living the life that she always wanted, that of putting herself out there.
And she's physically so needing of emotion and affection. Like her husband can't satisfy her. She's physically craving it in any capacity she can get it.
Yeah.
And so the fact that they're making a porno movie, I'm sure, is even more stimulating and harrowing to her. You know?
Yeah. If there's one thing about this movie that bugs me, I don't like the idea that there's something that is just implicitly horrifying about old flesh and old people, and especially an old libido. Like the idea that, ew, not only is she gross and wrinkled, but she wants sex. Ew. Look, I'm 55 next month. You know, I'm not that far away. I'm closer to the age of the farmer than I am of the porn stars here. So I don't appreciate the notion that there is something just inherently, implicitly gross about being old. And that's the one thing in this movie that kind of turned me off. But craftsman wise, obviously Ty West knows exactly how to make this movie, and you know, he does that same sort of slow burn that you get in House of the Dead and in the Innkeepers, where it's like it's a lot of setup, and then bam, 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 all the things happen, and it's very effective, and it's really great.
And the kills are really varied. They are graphic and inspired and varied, and tense and squirm inducing.
The moment of like where Mia Goth is swimming back to the dock, that overhead shot.
Oh my God, with the crocodile coming after
yes, that was one of the like most, and I don't know how they faked it, but they did fake it very well, but it scared the crap out of me.
It's so simple and minimalist and so tense, and I was so squirming. If you did not already see this and you do plan on seeing it, stay through the credits, stay the whole way through. I hope you guys did. When I went and saw it, the ticket taker was like, make sure you stay through the whole credits. And so
I'm glad you told me, because like by the time that happened, everybody else in my theater had left. So it was me sitting there and the guy waiting to clean the theater. I'm like, okay, great.
Well, they missed out on a hilarious and exciting moment.
Indeed.
So what is your number?
I'll say 7.2.
Okay, I'm gonna say 8. I had fun.
Okay.
I enjoyed its craft. I enjoyed its tension. It's fun, but innovative. So our number is a 7.6. X is in theaters now, and it's going to begin streaming this week. So go check it out.